He was the last birdman in the world, yet he was born without wings. To prove he could still fly, he leapt straight from a height of 10,000 meters in the sky. He stretched his arms out with all his might, but it was no use. He was just about to hit the ground and dolly. In order to find his true wings, he and his companions set off on a long journey. After facing countless hardships, they finally reached their homeland, but what he saw there left him utterly stunned. The place had been reduced to ruins. At that very moment, the memories buried deep within him began to awaken. When he was a child, their birdman tribe had been attacked by enemies. His father fought them with all his might, but they tore off his wings and kept them as a symbol of their victory. Suddenly, a voice echoed across the sky. It felt as though some force was guiding him. In that moment, he understood everything. He raised his hands and countless bolts of lightning rained down from the sky. Slowly, their shattered family totem began to restore itself. As soon as the totem was whole, a golden light descended upon the earth, and from the ground, a magical iron sword slowly began to rise. But he didn't even have the chance to celebrate, because suddenly an entire army of enemy aircraft appeared in the sky. They were led by the very man who had killed his father. A battle began at once. He fought with all his might, but in the end he was captured. One of the soldiers ran towards the magical sword and tried to pull it out, but an ordinary body could not withstand its power. In the very next moment, he was reduced to ashes. When his companion saw him imprisoned, she immediately rushed towards the sword. The moment she grasped its hilt, a terrifying surge of energy erupted. The entire battlefield was torn apart by the sword's power. That energy rose up and then began crashing down from the sky. At that decisive moment, the bloodline within him awakened. In the very next instant, wings emerged from his back. He flew up and caught her in his arms, but then he realized something horrifying. The sword's power had corrupted her. Her body was slowly turning into wood. At the beginning of the film, we are introduced to a ruthless and power-hungry king. In his desperate desire to gain ultimate power, he surrendered himself to a mysterious girl. But she is no ordinary girl. She is a terrifying and immensely powerful black dragon named Daji. When the king was young, he sought dark magical abilities and turned to Daji for help. In exchange for unimaginable powers, he gave himself over to her influence. Being a black dragon, Daji's nearly invincible. No warrior or weapon can defeat her. She is cruel and merciless, responsible for the deaths of countless innocent people. Together, she and the king wage war on kingdoms, looting them and capturing countless prisoners. Daji's horrifying nature is revealed when an officer arrives at the palace. With her many long, monstrous tails, she brutally kills and devours him, showing just how dangerous she truly is. Meanwhile, a group of brave warriors sets out from the city to challenge Daji and the king. Among the prisoners in Daji's dungeon are members of the invisible tribe. Despite their captivity, they secretly begin planning their escape and the downfall of the king. Their leader, their master, is on his way to rescue them. The warriors pass through a massive tunnel and finally reach the king's palace, where a grand festival is taking place. At the same time, the priest, who is also the leader of the invisible tribe, is being held captive and is on the verge of being assassinated. On the other side, the great warrior, Jackie, along with his master and companions, infiltrates the palace to rescue the imprisoned tribe members. They manage to reach the prison, but the bars are protected by powerful black magic, making them impossible to break. However, it is revealed that Jackie also possesses magical abilities. Using his powers, he successfully shatters the enchanted bars. The moment he uses his magic, the king's commander becomes aware of their presence and moves to intercept them. Inside the palace, the imprisoned priest, who has the ability to see the future, is brought before the king. At Daji's request, the king looks into the priest's eyes and witnesses a terrifying vision. His death is near, and someone is destined to defeat him. Enraged by this prophecy, the king orders his soldiers to gouge out the priest's eyes. Meanwhile, Jackie and his companions manage to rescue the invisible tribe members and lead them to safety. But their escape is short-lived as the king's army launches a sudden attack. In a shocking turn, some members of the invisible tribe betray Jackie's group, revealing a hidden plan to assassinate the priest. As chaos unfolds, the master arrives, and while the tribe members attempt to flee, the king's general attacks. Jackie and his brother stay behind to hold off the enemy, allowing the others to escape. Using his magic, Jackie collapses a massive wall near the shore, trapping the general and his army on the other side, successfully saving the remaining people. Back in the palace, Daji, now in a terrifying true form, curses the master, draining his powers and leaving him weak. Seeing this, the priest sacrifices one of his eyes to restore the master's strength, but Daji quickly notices and captures the eye with one of her tails. At that moment, Jackie and the warriors arrive, and a fierce battle erupts between them and the king's army. Jackie uses his magic against Daji, but she proves far too powerful. Both she and the king overpower him with ease. Just as the situation becomes hopeless, a giant mystical bird appears and rescues them, whisking them away to safety. Before they depart, the priest throws his remaining eye towards the master, who manages to catch it. With this, the master regains some strength and heads back towards his kingdom. The priest, having sacrificed everything, dies soon after. Meanwhile, Daji, now in possession of one of the priest's eyes, becomes even more powerful and prepares for the ultimate battle. The master and his companions also ready themselves for the coming war. However, due to Daji's curse, every time the master uses his powers, he ages rapidly and begins to lose his memories and abilities. This makes their mission all the more urgent. There's only one hope left, the legendary Sword of Life. It is said that this sword is the only weapon capable of killing the black dragon Daji. It is then revealed that Jackie is no ordinary warrior. Since childhood, he has possessed the ability to fly and has wings, though he has always been afraid to use them because of past trauma. Now, determined to fulfill his destiny, he overcomes his fear and successfully takes flight. The master gives Jackie a magical map that will lead him to the Sword of Life. He warns him that the sword cannot be touched by just anyone. He'll only choose its rightful wielder. The one chosen will transform into the Golden Dragon, the only being capable of defeating the Black Dragon Daji. Understanding the weight of this responsibility, Jackie accepts the mission without hesitation. The master agrees and sends him on his journey, reminding him that he must grow stronger and gather great power before facing Daji. In their sacred garden lies the Spring of Life. From its mystical waters, the master retrieves a mysterious egg. As it cracks open, a charming and extraordinary boy named Naza emerges, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their battle against darkness. This young boy soon becomes Jackie's companion on his journey. Before sending him off, the master also gives Jackie 3 mysterious gifts, each intended to aid him during his quest. With determination in his heart, Jackie sets off in search of the legendary Sword of Life. He travels for a long time but finds no clue about the sword. Just as hope begins to fade, one of the master's gifts activates, a peculiar plant with a single eye. This magical plant begins to guide Jackie, showing him the path he must follow. As they journey through a vast desert, a gigantic centipede monster suddenly attacks them. It lunges towards Jackie, Naza, and the magical plant, nearly killing the smaller companion. But at the last moment, Jackie steps in and slays the monstrous creature, saving them all. Amidst the chaos, Naza mischievously opens another of Jackie's gifts. Inside, a cute baby dragon prince emerges. However, as soon as he appears, he releases a strange magical gas onto Naza. Because of this, Naza transforms into his true form, growing older and revealing his hidden power. Once he regains consciousness, he immediately sets out to find his legendary fire wheels, his true weapon. Jackie stops him and reminds him that their priority is finding the Sword of Life. He assures Naza that they will find the fire wheels along the way. Meanwhile, back at the palace, the king's general creates a mysterious girl and brings her to life. He sends her on a mission to locate the Sword of Life. Her name's Dee. As Jackie and Naza continue their journey, they arrive at a vast ancient hall where they encounter a sand magician, someone who can control sand with incredible power. The magician summons a golden weapon from the sand itself. Seeing this, Naza immediately attacks him, eager to claim the weapon. A fierce battle breaks out and Jackie is forced to intervene. During the fight, they are suddenly transported into another world. There, the truth is revealed. The sand magician's actually a warrior who had been cursed and imprisoned by Daji. By bringing him there, Jackie unknowingly frees him. Grateful for his freedom, the warrior accepts one of Jackie's gifts, a magical dog, and sets off on his own journey to reclaim his weapon. Jackie and Naza continue on their way. As night falls, they arrive at a village, but in the confusion they become separated. Both of them now race against time, determined to find the Sword of Life before the 3 suns collide. In the village, Jackie meets the mysterious girl, Dee. Unaware of her true intentions, he starts to like her. Together, they decide to seek out a witch who owns a magical boat capable of taking anyone to their desired destination. They try to steal the boat, but the witch wakes up and attacks them. Managing to escape her, Jackie, Naza, and Dee successfully steal the boat and set sail. As they travel, Dee starts talking about the sword, which shocks and angers Naza. Suspecting something's amiss, he tries to attack her, but the baby dragon prince intervenes, releasing his magical gas once again. Naza faints and reverts back into his child form. Meanwhile, the general discovers their predicament and secretly wipes Dee's memories, making sure she forgets everything about the sword. His intentions are clear. He wants the sword's location for himself. Soon, Jackie realizes that the boat is drifting aimlessly in the middle of the sea. When he asks the magical plant, it reveals that only the baby dragon prince can control the boat and that he's trying to return home. The dragon prince starts to sing, calling out to his father. Hearing his son's voice, the mighty dragon king sends a giant octopus to fetch him. The creature carries them all to the magnificent underwater sea palace. There, they discover that the Dragon King has Naza's fire wheels. That's why Naza had been keeping hold of the Dragon Prince. Naza demands his weapon back, but the king refuses and orders his guards to attack. A fierce battle erupts, but Naza defeats them all. Impressed by his strength, the Dragon King finally returns the fire wheels. With them, Naza regains his true form and unlocks immense power. In return, he gives the baby Dragon Prince back to his father, and the group continues on their journey. Jackie and Dee eventually arrive in a mysterious ruined city where time itself seems to have come to a standstill. Searching through the silent ruins, Jackie finds a spot marked with the symbol of the sword. Using all his strength, he breaks it open, releasing a blinding flash of light. From within, the legendary Sword of Life finally emerges. Just as hope begins to rise, the general and his army arrive. At that moment, Dee reveals the truth about herself. Enraged, Jackie attacks the general, but after a brutal fight, he is captured. As the general's soldiers attempt to touch the sword, they are instantly reduced to ashes. Realizing the danger, Dee sacrifices herself. As an artificial creation, she is unaffected by the sword. She manages to pull it free, triggering a massive explosion that wipes out many of the general's forces. However, the sword's power fades once it has been removed. Jackie regains his wings and escapes, leaving Dee behind. As sunlight touches her, Dee turns into a lifeless mannequin. Seeing this, Jackie is filled with anger and sorrow, but he leaves with the sword, heading back to his kingdom. On his way, he notices the three suns beginning to merge, a sign that time is running out. He soon reunites with Nazar and the freed warrior, who has now reclaimed his weapon. Together, they rush back to the kingdom. Meanwhile, Daji and the king's forces are already attacking the city. The master, weakened by the curse, is losing his powers and even his memories as he fights. The situation grows dire. Just then, Jackie, Nazar and the others arrive and join the battle. They manage to kill the general, but Daji revives him, transforming him into a massive, terrifying monster. The giant creature overwhelms everyone with its strength. In the chaos, their commander's killed, but before dying, he tells Jackie's brother to throw the Sword of Life into the Spring of Life. Only then will its powers return. At the same time, the masters, now reduced to small children due to the curse, are captured by Daji. Following the final instructions, Jackie's brother throws the sword into the sacred spring. In that moment, something incredible happens. The sword chooses him. He transforms into the golden dragon, gaining immense and overwhelming power. With his power, he defeats the giant monster effortlessly. His strength is so great that he can lift the entire city. Now unstoppable, he rises into the sky, ready to face the king and Daji. At the same time, the king reveals his true form, transforming into a terrifying black dragon. As both sides prepare for the ultimate clash, the stage is set for a final battle that will decide the fate of their world.